Hi everyone, so today we're looking at doing Zelkova seedling cuttings with the aim of making these more suitable for bonsai material, particularly in the broom style. These were stratified before Christmas and then sowed and put outside, just left there for the winter so they can be exposed to the fluctuation in temperatures. I don't know how many are in here, about 50. When you do this, these cutting styles, you either cut below the cotyledons or above the cotyledons. If you cut above, then you're going to create two buds just above the cotyledons that will create a Y shape. This is considered the perfect start for a Zelkova broom. Any more than two branches, and you'll start getting a swelling in this area, in the middle area, like an inverse taper. If you cut below the cotyledons, then you get a better radial root spread, like a circular nabari. In the end, you're going to want both, but at the start you can only do one or the other. Some of these seedlings I've already cut, and my hope was that the new double leaves buds would grow and develop on each side before the cotyledons fell off, and then I could do a cutting underneath as well. But some of these cotyledons are already falling off, so it looks like I need to move ahead with just getting them done. Sorry, I'm just trying to give you a good shot of them. So obviously you're going to want to make sure you've got everything ready, because once the roots are out, you don't want to leave them to dry out. So you're going to want your rooting hormone. I'm using IBA. You want a tonic solution. This is Rhizotonic. You can use Super Thrive. It's just seaweed solution as well, so you can use that. For this also, you're going to want to grade your gravel, your medium that you're potting in. So we got thick chunky stuff, we got fine stuff, and then we got super fine. So in the bottom of your pots you put the thick stuff. This is just so that stuff doesn't fall out the holes in the bottom. It doesn't improve drainage, it just raises the water table. And then you put your fine stuff, then you're gonna wanna water it all down so that everything stays in place, so that you can then put the supervines in. So this is considered the best way to do it, but it's not necessary. It's not the only way. So you're going to want to poke a hole in the top area. I'll do this on two, and then I'll just do the rest off camera. Okay. You're then going to want to bring your supervines in. And you're going to fill your holes with superfines. Gives better surface contact area with the cutting. And then you wet this down. Once you've wet that down, you then make a new hole. You wet it so that everything stays in place. You make a new hole with something small, like a toothpick or a small piece of wire, which we've all got, and that's the perfect place for your seedling to go then. And here's one I made earlier. If you know, you know. I've got to mention that you're going to want sharp blades. These are razor blades, sharp, small, like fine blade to make the cutting with. If you've got a blade, just make sure you sterilise it with some isopropyl alcohol or something. It would have made sense, I think, to take all these out first, the seedlings, and put them in the tonic, because you need to leave them in the tonic water for 15 minutes. Up to an hour is fine, but you don't need that long, I don't think. So I could have left them in there while I was finishing the soil, but I was already on the soil steps, so I'm finishing the soil just to get that done and out of the way. When it comes to this step then, as I said, you're going to get the blade. That's for after the tonic water though. And then you're just going to start taking out the seedlings. The seedlings don't go that deep, it's just mostly just a single tap root. That's just going to sit there now. These are the ones that are pre-cut. You can see the buds and how they form. They form after about 5 to 6 days of cutting. So since these ones have already been cut at the top, they won't have the bottom cut. They'll just be planted like this, and then later on you can air layer wherever you choose if necessary. It might not be necessary, but you air layer then to get a really nice radial on the barry and make it a bit shorter. So now we're ready to do the cuttings. What you decide to do depends on the distance between the cotyledon and the top, and the cotyledon and the roots, and how straight it is. So for this one, I would take the roots and you take it about 1 centimetre below the cotyledons, The reason we don't use scissors is we don't want to crush the stem, we want to slice it. Just using something a little bit softer. Yeah, that's all that's necessary. Just going to leave them in a little bit of water and root powder just while I do a couple at a time. This one again is pretty straight here. Very nice, it's got a short distance here. So I'm going to do the same again. This one, let's cut the top off. When you do take the top off, just take the bottom of the tap roots off. Just a little bit, you don't need to take a lot. Just enough to encourage it to root from above instead of keep going downwards. Those ones, because you're not re-rooting them, you don't need rooting hormones, so they can just go back in the tonic. So we're running up to the final steps. Make the cut in. Stick in the rooting hormone. Stick in the hole you made. Hold it down gently while you do it. Try and make sure it's upright a bit. And that's how you do the root cutting version. The other variants, a lot more straightforward. Just going to cut the top and the bottom off. Any scissors will do for this. Not cut the bottom off, cut the bottom of the roots off. So you're just going to snip the end of the tap root. Then you're going to snip the top of the leaves off. And you're just going to grab yourself some potting soil. Hold it in place. We've all done this a million times. Oh, done it a million times, he says. The rest of these I've already done, so just carry on doing them. When I say already done, I mean cut the roots and cut the true leaves off. Some of these didn't have quite enough soil in. Just top them all off a bit. I guess I overestimated how big the root system would be that I'd be dealing with. So yeah, anyway, it's quite a straightforward process, this bit. The whole process isn't that complicated really, but it is time consuming. As soon as you're done with all of this, you're going to want to make sure you water everything in. The other kind of cutting, the one where I've taken the roots off, they're in like a humidity box, so they won't lose as much moisture. These ones with the roots still on them aren't as vulnerable. The humidity box would be nice for them as well, but I only had so many. You're going to want to make sure you keep everything in the shade for a week. Mist these ones regularly. Once a day, mist them. Don't start fertilising them until the true leaves reappear fully. Then you can start fertilising them heavily. You don't want to up-pot them though. We're trying to keep their size small. I mean, you can grow a few on if you want and make them bigger, it's up to you, that's your choice. But ideally we want to try and keep these small shohin. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you found it helpful. Goodbye. So because it's taken me a few weeks to do anything with these videos, this video, it gives me a chance to give you a small update. So after they've been cut, you can see the buds here on each side of this stem that was cut forming. So they're all in different stages, even though they were cut at the same time, they all react differently. That's an example, one example of budding. There's another example. There are two buds on this one, I don't know how well you can see it. There's the second one. After that the buds will fluff up a little bit more. We're not focusing very well here, sorry about that. Maybe if I use my hand. And then after that you'll get the leaves starting to push out. You can't see that they're developed yet, but they're in there. And then skip on another 2 weeks and you'll start to see this. And this is obviously what we're aiming for with the bifurcation, the split from this point. And these will keep pushing now, each one of these, until they get to like 6 leaves. And then they'll throw out some new buds and develop new sets of leaves. And then on the split side we've got the ones that went into the propagators. These are for the humidity because these all had their roots cut off completely. Some of them have still got their cotyledons and some of them have started to brown off and die. Some of the leaves have gone a little bit wrinkled, but on the whole they're doing really well. Even the ones with the slightly wrinkled leaves I think will be okay. You can't see anything on the surface, sorry, got a bit gassy, because everything with these is going on underneath the surface. I put a couple of these in here just to get a different perspective on how they'd all react. They're all about the same height actually, they're all doing pretty well. You can see this one with its buds. It's doing really well. This one's in kind of an in-between stage of development between buds and a big Y. Sometimes you'll get ones like this where one side push is stronger. It's quite rare, it doesn't happen much, The other side will eventually catch up. These ones are further behind. They have lost their cotyledons, but you can still see, I don't know if we can get you close enough, you can hopefully see the buds on it. Yeah, I can see them. So it's going to be okay. Got the buds formed, so they'll start pushing now. And it's got the root structure underneath intact, so now it's got all the energy it needs, I think, to push those out. So even those ones will be fine. I hope you found this informative and helpful. Leave me a like. Thanks everyone.